Masuk Islam setelah ingin menabrakkan dirinya ke sebuah truk.
I always, every day, would pray to Allah. I'd always pray to Him every day to take away a pain for me that had been affecting me my whole life ever since I was 8 years old. I prayed to Him to take that away every single day of my life. I even got to a point where I remember one day crossing a busy highway and I almost threw myself in front of a truck.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم.
Dalam menemukan kebenaran, orang sering melalui proses yang panjang. Tentu ini adalah hal yang sulit karena mereka sering berperang dengan pikiran dan hati terlebih dahulu. Kisah pertobatan ini berasal dari mantan pendeta Kristen Mormon. Kisah spiritualnya dimulai ketika dia masih sangat muda. Dia adalah anak tertua dari 6 bersaudara yang lahir dalam keluarga Kristen. Tidak seperti anak-anak lain pada usia 8 tahun di mana kebanyakan anak tidak terlalu memikirkan iman dan ketuhanan, tetapi dia sudah peduli dengan iman dan ingin berhubungan langsung dengan Tuhan.
I'm not from a very religious background in the family sense. I wasn't actually brought up in religion, but on occasion we used to attend, when I was younger, the Salvation Army Church, and that's where my beginnings of finding God, Allah, was. Ever since I've come to know Allah, and I'll say Allah as I know Him now, so I don't use the term God anymore. Ever since I came to know Him as a young boy, I've always strived to have a personal relationship. When I was a kid, I used to walk along the street and I used to have little conversations, as a child does. A child's love for Allah is very pure.
Semakin dia memperdalam cintanya pada dewa yang dia kenal pada saat itu, semakin banyak pintu kekacauan terbuka di depan matanya. Bahkan sebagai anak yang sangat muda pada saat itu, dia tidak mudah menerima apa yang selalu diajarkan oleh gereja. Hingga suatu hari dalam beberapa ajaran yang berkembang di gereja-gereja di sekitarnya, ia menemukan kontradiksi antara cara mereka mengajarkan tentang Trinitas, yang akhirnya membuatnya bingung.
I had a very big problem right from the beginning about the Trinity. The Trinity being the belief in God, Allah, Isa, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost are one. So it's 3 in 1. And I never ever could be convinced ever that how could 3 separate beings be one being all at the same time? How could Allah come down from immortality to mortality to perfection to imperfection and allow Himself to be killed? Allow man to kill God. I used to have Christian ministers who would proselyte with me, who used to try and convince me to be part of their organisation. They used to say Allah is Jesus, Isa and the Holy Ghost are like an egg. It said Allah being the eggshell, Isa being the yolk and the Holy Ghost being the egg white. And I would say, but then Allah's not an egg, or the water analogy. And it's just something that I always had a very personal relationship with Allah, so I knew it was impossible. Even reading the Bible, when Isa used to perform his miracles, he'd always say, not my will be done, but thy will be done. So he's recognizing the Father instantly.
Di usianya yang baru 13 tahun, dia berpikir bahwa jika dia terus mengikuti ajaran agamanya, itu akan membuat pemikirannya semakin kacau. Dia akhirnya memutuskan untuk pergi dari sana dan bergabung dengan orang-orang Kristen Mormon. Gereja Mormon Yesus Kristus, orang-orang kudus zaman akhir, adalah bentuk kekristenan yang sangat berbeda. Ajaran ini sangat ketat. Mereka percaya itu adalah satu-satunya ajaran Kristen yang benar di dunia.
when I became a Mormon. And so I was always taught, as from a young age, all about the prophets of Allah, going from Adam to Enoch, Noah, Ibrahim, Isaiah, Suleiman, Isa. But being Isa, we believed he was the direct son of Allah sent on earth. One thing that was very unique in my religion that separates, my old religion I should say, separates us from the rest of a lot of Christianity was the fact that we believed that this was the only true church on the entire earth. And that we also, from the founder Joseph Smith, that they believed was a prophet. There's continuation of prophets all the way until now. They believe they have a prophet right now by name of Thomas S. Monson.
Setelah mengabadikan seluruh hidupnya untuk keyakinan itu, berdakwah sana-sini berusaha menjadi teladan bagi para pengikutnya. Namun, akhirnya dia sampai pada suatu titik dan menyadari bahwa itu bukanlah suatu kebenaran. Apa yang dia katakan kepada para pengikutnya, dia bahkan tidak menyukainya. Dia menjadi semakin bingung dan dia tidak pernah merasa senang dalam memenuhi setiap perintah dalam ajaran agamanya.
I put my whole life into this. I became a missionary for my church where I went actively preaching. But my main problems were following this faith were several. I felt like I was always pretending that I had to put a mask on every day. They had to convince myself that this was the truth. There was always something not quite right. There was always something so fake about it. I always, every day, would pray to Allah to come closer to Him. I'd always pray to Him every day to take away a pain from me that had been affecting me my whole life ever since I was 8 years old. I prayed to Him to take that away every single day of my life. I even got to a point where I remember one day crossing a busy highway and I almost threw myself in front of a truck because I felt so dark and so unloved and so black inside. My prayers were never answered. I always felt like I was the most
Lost soul.
lost, yeah.
Setelah melalui masa sulit bergumul dengan perasaannya, dia akhirnya memutuskan untuk meninggalkan gereja dan menyendiri. Begitulah jika Allah ingin meluruskan keimanan seseorang, selalu ada cara dan tanda yang Allah berikan untuk mendekatkan diri dengannya. Pada saat itu ada desas-desus negatif tentang Islam di mana-mana. Tapi untungnya dia tidak terpancing dan malah semakin penasaran dengan Islam.
So, for 3 years, I have been living my own life, trying to find myself again, but I never did. So, how I found Islam. I was hearing a lot of negative things about Islam through friends, work colleagues, through the media. Not that I watch a lot of media anyway, but I was hearing constant negative things. I met some really lovely Muslims I didn't get to know personally, but what I could see from the outside through my political, because I'm a political activist myself for pro-Palestine movements. I saw a lot of good examples from wonderful Muslims, and I would hear all the negative things, and I thought, this can't be right. You can never judge a group of people based on any generalisation. You simply can't do that. You can judge someone individually, but you can't generalise, and I knew that for myself. So I decided, after hearing this negative stuff, I'm going to learn about Islam. I want to know about Islam in its truthful form, right from the source. But I'm also, part of me, I didn't want to admit it. I was curious. I wanted to find another path in life. But I didn't think I was going to become a Muslim myself. So I went into Google and I typed in 3 words, learning about Islam. I found an organisation, ISNA, the My Centre, and I emailed Brother Murad Selik, and we sent a few emails, and we eventually met about a week or 2 later. So I just asked him, I just remember walking to the mosque for the first time and...
Afraid.
I was afraid. I wasn't afraid that something bad was going to happen.
Lots of terrorists.
It was just a very unfamiliar environment, unfamiliar people. You don't know what to expect when you haven't been to somewhere different. So I sat down for a couple of hours and just asked a lot of general questions that a Westerner would probably ask a Muslim. I asked him if I could have a copy of the Quran because I wanted to read it, and the brother gave it to me, and I said, how much do I owe you? And he said, no, this is a gift. This is what we Muslims do. I said, no, I have to pay. He goes, no, we give gifts. You never say no to a gift from a Muslim.
Masya Allah, betapa indahnya Islam. Allah permudah langkahnya menuju kebenaran. Kini ia memiliki mushaf Al-Quran. Dan tentunya setelah membacanya, ia akan menemukan keajaiban dan pemahaman yang masuk akal. Hatinya luluh mengetahui keagungan dan kebesaran Allah. Lalu dia pun mengucapkan syahadat.
I read the Quran. I didn't read the entire thing, but I read quite a bit of it. And I felt for the first time in my life Allah speaking back to me.
Takbir.
I felt for the first time in years that I could have a close personal relationship with Allah. Just about in every single page in the Quran it says Allah is most merciful of forgiving. Did I get that right?
Yes. The most compassionate, the most merciful.
Those few words hit me so much because they meant that I can have a personal relationship with Allah. There is no Isa, Jesus Christ, in between. There is no one in between the phone call between me and Allah. It is me and Allah. I felt for the first time in my life loved. I felt first time in my life that I have a father who will accept me no matter what. I knew that I had to embrace Islam. So 4 weeks ago, I said my shahada.
Takbir.
The biggest miracle in my life, what I said for since I was 8 years old, that I was going through such pain and torment from a trial that I felt that Allah could never take away from me. When I said the shahada, it was taken from me.
Your shoulder is free.
My shoulder is free. I no longer carry those weights in my life.
Banyak sekali pelajaran yang bisa kita petik dari cerita ini. Tentu kebanyakan dari mereka yang kembali ke Islam mencari kedamaian, ketenangan jiwa dan hati. Mereka tidak mencari dunia, tetapi mereka ingin kembali ke fitrah. Mari kita hidupkan kembali iman di hati kita. Semoga ketaatan kita dalam beribadah kepada Allah semakin meningkat dari hari ke hari. Amin ya robbal alamin. Menjadi seorang mualaf bukanlah keputusan yang mudah. Bagi banyak orang, perjalanan ini adalah pencarian jati diri yang mendalam, penuh tantangan dan mengubah hidup. Tetapi melalui kesulitan dan ketidakpastian, mereka menemukan kekuatan dan keberanian untuk memeluk Islam. Setiap mualaf memiliki kisah yang unik. Mereka datang dari berbagai latar belakang, budaya dan keyakinan sebelumnya. Namun mereka semua berbagi semangat dan keinginan yang sama untuk menemukan kedamaian dan kebenaran. Melalui penutup video ini, saya ingin mengajak Anda untuk berempati dan menghormati perjalanan hidup seorang mualaf. Mari kita membuka pikiran dan hati kita untuk memahami pengorbanan dan pengalaman mereka dalam menemukan iman baru bagi mereka. Terima kasih sekali lagi atas waktu dan perhatian Anda. Semoga video ini membantu kita semua memperluas wawasan dan saling menghormati perbedaan kita. Sampai jumpa di video berikutnya. Like postingan ini jika bermanfaat. Kalau setuju tulis di komen ya. Dan jangan lupa subscribe-nya serta share ke teman kamu biar pada tahu. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.